Hello everybody and welcome to Leeds and welcome to part 2 of my 7-part NIMBY Rails tutorial series. Today we are going to be looking at building different tracks, different type of tracks, and also doing branches and crossovers and that sort of thing that you need to be able to build the stations successfully. Now, one thing to note is that as much as I am doing the tracks video first, stations need to be put in before the tracks, pretty much. But today we are going to be using this menu up here, which is the F2 keybind. So if I press F2, I opened it up. Now, move, edit, and delete tracks will come in handy a little bit later. Build blueprints is quite important. So when you build bits of track, so I'm just going to build a bit of track, I'm not going to bother what type of track it is, like there, that's blueprinted. We cannot run a train along that bit of track because it is not fixed into the ground, it is a blueprint. Now blueprints can be easily edited, such as moving it a bit further along, maybe bring it up a little bit, like that. Maybe if I want to extend it a bit more, that sort of thing, I can do that in blueprints. But the second I click build blueprints, I can't drag it anymore. I just can't drag it anymore. Now you can use this tool here on move, edit, and delete tracks. And you can sort of drag and select it and then press insert, and that will re-blueprint the track, so you can move it around a bit. Do the same on the other side, say. But that's not necessarily what you always want to do, because if you've got trains running along, it is going to get very upset. Now I'll run through the types of track we can use, and we'll use it in a bit of an emptier area. By default you have high speed and medium speed tracks. So you also have, so this is the regular track, and then you've got +1 and +2 and +3 at different heights for viaducts, and -1, -2 and -3 at different heights for below ground tunnels, and then you've got infinite, which is just like you can build as many over the top of each other, they're never going to connect or be at the same level. So that's just one of the viaduct options, say, and that's just one tunnel. Rather than having to go up to -1, you can just use these. These are your keybind, so 1 to 9 will be keybind, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up there. Now this shows you all the track that you can choose from. Now a lot of these are mods that I have installed, but say I wanted to make a tram tunnel, which is not a mod, just click on tram and then select -2, say, and then click on, say, key 8, and that's now going to come up as a tunnel in slot 8. Select not favorited and it will disappear again. We're just going to use basic high speed track for this. I'm just going to tuck that away, say, for now. Now this button down here shows whether you're going to use single or double track, but it's not that simple. Single track just builds a single track. Now it claims to just be double track. It will just be double tracks. Let me select it. will just be double track if I select it like that. But there's also an option that you can use called parenting. So if I click on move, delete and edit and select this track, and I click this pick parent option, I can select another track that it will then go to. So this is currently set 5 meters away, and I can flip which direction, so 5 meters that way or 5 meters that way. I can also make it further away, so like 15 meters if I want it a bit of a distance. And then when I click say build double track, instead of just doing 2 tracks, it will do all 3. If I do a single track, it will still just drag one of them wherever I want it to go. So that's a really good way of building, say, 3 or 4 or 5 tracks nice and efficiently. Parenting is a bit more complex, so pick parent there, and then just setting offset. You can set an offset of up to 100 meters. I quite like using it for like 10 meters if I want to put a terminus track, say, in the middle, that sort of thing. Nice and easy. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is building parallel tracks. So obviously building parallel tracks, you're just sort of building parallel tracks like that, say. Now, you can determine 2 things with these tracks. You can make them bi-directional or you can make them single directional. Now currently trains can run either way along this bit of track, but the second I put an arrow marking on from the signals tab, so that's in create signals, it will make it one direction. We'll look at more of that when we go into the signaling thing. So now we've built track, we know how to build different bits of track, we know how to build double, single, that sort of thing. And you can obviously build like multiple bits of double track and multiple bits of single track next to each other. But we're now going to be looking at doing branches off. So this is the next button down. So if we come down here, we select a bit of track, that's going to branch off that side. We turn it the other way, it's going to branch off that side. We just branch it off and then along. Obviously it's pluses to build again, and that's just going to join on there. If we wanted it to join onto the other track, rather than deleting this and building it, we could just switch it over there. And now you can see this bit of track has come up a different colour, but it's indicating that it is a crossover. Or it's at least telling us that it's coming into contact with that bit of track. Now sometimes it will do that for longer sections of branches on this track as well, but it's not quite as common. You can also say do a double branch off, which sometimes will mess up like that. Now the 2 ways you can do it, you can then just build the track again or try and do a branch again, or you can just sort of switch over these 2 bits and then they branch up just fine. Double branch. Now branches, even if you've parented 4 tracks, you can only do 2 track branches at any one time. So you've got to do the branches and then parent it again if you want to do, say, a 4 track branch. Now one thing I do want to point out is if you want to branch between them, you just cut it across like that. There's absolutely no need, and I have seen this, for you to do that. Yes, I am looking at you, James. Yes, I'm looking at you. Cough, cough, cough. No offense, but that is not how you do them. You just need to do them like that. And one little tip I'm going to show you for building X junctions in particular is if you come on branches and you build a little branch off like that, and you build a little branch off, there you go. Just twiddle it around a bit. That sometimes works as well. Just twiddle it around a bit. Tube's answer to everything. Like that. Now the key thing to remember is that when you build more than one track, they're parented to each other. Just click on this locked point and click remove the constraint. Now if you move one of the tracks, it won't move both, and you won't be able to build both at any time. And then just connect up the opposite ones. And what I would then recommend is get rid of that yucky colour. There we go. Look, that looks pretty good for X junction. And it's really simple and easy to do using our branches feature that we have got here. Now, there are a few other things for tracks to remember. So if I build a track here, it's going to automatically build a bridge for me. But if I build it at an angle, so that sort of angle, it won't automatically build a bridge. So we then have to build our own bridge, say over it, over the road, or we could of course use a tunnel to go underneath the road, like that. Water's the same. Sometimes it's a lot nicer now with water. So some little rivers, it will give you a bridge or just won't count at all. But then obviously lakes, if it's a considerably large lake, it won't automatically build a bridge. It just doesn't feel like it. But yeah, I think I've sort of covered the basics. Obviously, if you use -1, -2, -3, that sort of thing, when you build, you can still have crossovers that are actually there. It's just when you're using different depths. So if I use -1, that's not going to come into contact with a -2 bit, and that, or -3, and -3 is going to come into contact with -3, but -2 is going to just cruise through between them all. Now obviously this video hasn't been that long. Doing the tracks and everything is pretty nice and easy. If you do still have questions, do let me know in the comments, that sort of thing. I will try and get back to you as soon as possible. But yes, hopefully this has helped you in building tracks. I know this looks an absolute mess now. But one thing I will mention as well is that a lot of the areas where there are lines, say, coming in, I would definitely recommend using the alignment of the railways, because you're going to need to use a lot less tunnels, viaducts, that sort of thing. Say here, coming into Leeds, if I were to cruise straight across the middle of that roundabout, I'd need a viaduct. But because there's already alignment here, it's sort of less roads to bother with, less roads to worry about, that sort of thing. So yes, I definitely recommend using rail alignments where possible. There are also some that look like rail alignments, but also used to be. Use them as much as possible because it will make your life easier. But yeah, I think that's really all on the track front. We'll obviously talk about signaling and that sort of thing in a different video. But yes, thanks for watching, and